Long ball counter is the most used playstyle by top 100 players in eFootball. And trust me, I've checked. But most people are using it completely wrong. So in this video, I'm going to give you 5 simple tips that are guaranteed to improve your win rate. Tip number 1. Fix your passing. If you've ever wondered why your passes keep getting intercepted in long ball counter, this is probably why. In this playstyle, your players don't naturally come short to receive the ball. Instead, most of them are constantly trying to run in behind the lines. So what happens is, you might see a player open, but by the time you pass, he has already moved away or run into pressure. So how do you fix this? There are 3 simple things you need to do. 1. Hold the ball. Unless you're going for the counter, give your players a second to complete their movement before you pass. This allows better passing options to open up instead of forcing a rushed pass that might get intercepted. As you can see with Messi here, I don't really have any good passing options. A pass to Batistuta will most likely get intercepted because he's already trying to run in behind. So instead, I release dash, hold the ball with Messi for a bit, and I even go backwards, giving it back to Cannavaro. Now again, Messi is not really coming short to receive the ball. So I hold the ball again with Cannavaro taking small touches, and now Messi becomes open. I find him, and from there, I'm able to connect the next pass. And again, by holding the ball and turning at the right moment, I find Neymar, who draws the foul and wins the penalty. That's one of the main disadvantages of long ball counter. Your players don't really come short to receive the ball, so you have to be very careful when passing. And that leads us to the next point. 2. Use a creative midfielder. In long ball counter, most of your players are usually looking to run forward and get in behind. Because of that, you might notice that sometimes you don't really have many passing options in midfield, especially when everyone is already making forward runs. This is where having a creative playmaker or an orchestrator can really help. Even in long ball counter, these types of players are more likely to make themselves available for the ball, which can give you an extra passing option when you need it. And in those tight situations, having that option can make it easier to keep possession and reduces the chances of forcing a pass that gets intercepted. So instead of everyone moving away from the ball, you at least have someone who can help you stay in control and move the play more comfortably. 3. Watch your player's movement. The success of your pass mostly depends on your player's position in relation to the defender. For example, if there's a defender directly in front of your striker, a through pass will usually work in the defender's favor. He'll either intercept it, or the ball will go too far ahead and slow your attack down. In that situation, that's your chance to play the ball to feet instead. Once you do that, you can turn the defender and create a goal-scoring opportunity. Tip number 2. Know when to attack. This might be the most important tip when using long ball counter. In this playstyle, there are 2 main moments to attack. The first moment is immediately after you win the ball. If your opponent was pressing you in your own half and you recover possession, look forward straight away. Your strikers or wingers will already be making runs in behind, and this is your best chance to catch your opponent off guard. If you play that pass early, before they can recover, you can create a very dangerous attack quickly. But the second moment to attack comes when that counter opportunity is already gone. If your opponent has recovered and their defense is already organized, the ball in behind usually won't work anymore. At this point, this is where you need to slow things down and be more patient on the ball. Because like I explained, your players will still be trying to run in behind, which can make it feel like they're hiding and not really giving you passing options. So instead of forcing the pass, you need to hold the ball pass around and wait for your opponent to commit, either by stepping out, pressing you, or breaking their defensive shape. If they don't commit, you keep moving forward with the ball yourself. As you keep progressing, they will eventually have to react. And once they do, that's when spaces begin to open up. It might be a small gap in midfield or a defender stepping out of line, but those are the moments you're looking for. At the same time, as you keep the ball and stay patient, your own players will start adjusting their movement and finding better positions. So instead of rushing the attack, you're allowing the game to open up for you. And this is where players who are comfortable on the ball really come in handy, because they help you stay in control during these moments. Tip number 3. Always select at least one counter target. Now, if you have not learned anything in this video to this point, at least understand this. The whole point of long ball counter is all about defending deep and hitting your opponent on the break. Now, the counter target just makes this even more effective because that player will not drop back. He will stay higher up the pitch, usually on the shoulder of the defender, just waiting for that chance to counter. So the moment you win the ball, you already have a direct option. This works especially well if the player is a goal poacher or a prolific winger, because they're already looking to run in behind. And it's even better if the player has good pace, because it makes the counter much easier and more dangerous. So instead of struggling to find an option after winning the ball, you already know exactly where to play it. Tip number 4, know when to match up and when to press. Now, we all know that in long ball counter, matchup is the main way to defend. But the truth is, if you only keep matching up without knowing when to press, good players will eventually find a way to break through your defense. So it's not just about matchup, it's about knowing when to switch between the two. First, when you're far from your opponent, you should mostly be using matchup. This helps you stay in position, track runs, and block passing lanes instead of rushing in and getting beaten easily. Because the real problem is not pressing, it's pressing from too far. If you press from a distance, your opponent can easily play around you. So you use matchup to get close, stay compact, and control the situation. Then once you're close enough, that's when you press. Especially when your opponent is near your defense or about to make a move. That's when you become aggressive and try to win the ball. Another important moment to press is at the front. When your opponent is building from the back, you can apply pressure early, so they don't have time to set up their passes, especially long balls. But the moment they're in a good position to pass, you switch back to match up to block the passing lanes. Now, if your opponent plays a long ball and behind your defense, don't rely on matchup in that situation. Use press to chase the runner because it's much faster and gives you a better chance to recover. And when dealing with those long balls, always try to react early. Go for the header, either to clear it or to direct it to a teammate, but don't just leave it. Also, sliding tackles can be very useful, but only in the right situations. The best time to use them is when you're running side by side with an attacker and you're not sure you can win the ball normally. But never tackle from behind, especially near your box, because that can easily lead to a foul or even a penalty. If your opponent is about to shoot, matchup is also the best option to block the shot. And finally, learn when to use call for pressure. It really helps you get out of some very sticky situations, especially when you can't press directly. Tip number 5, use the right formation. Now, I'm not going to tell you one exact formation to use, but there are certain things your formation should have to make long ball counter easier and more effective. So instead of giving you one formation, I'll give you 3 key things to look for so you can choose what works for you. The first thing is numbers in front of the defense. You need enough players staying deep to protect your defense. This is why a lot of top players use formations with 2 defensive midfielders or at least 2 players sitting in front of the back line. These players help you stay compact, block the center, and make it harder for your opponent to break through. The second thing is numbers in the front line. You need enough players forward so that when you win the ball, you actually have options to counter with. So in your front line, it's important to have players that are always looking to make runs. If you're using wingers, prolific wingers, or even roaming flanks are very effective. And for your strikers, you should always have at least one goal poacher because they're constantly looking to run in behind. I also recommend using more than one center forward, so you always have multiple attacking options when you go forward. The third thing is having a wide outlet. Sometimes, especially in long ball counter, it can be hard to find passing options through the middle. So having a player out wide, whether it's a winger, a wide midfielder, or even an attacking fullback, gives you an easy option to relieve pressure and progress the ball. Now, if you're looking for examples, formations like 4-2-1-3 work very well because you have 2 defensive midfielders, 1 player linking the play, and 3 attackers up front. The 4-3-3 narrow can also work, especially if you use attacking fullbacks to provide the width. And the 4-2-2-2 is another good option, but in that formation, you need to be very aware of your wide areas, either through your fullbacks or how your forwards move. So, it's not about the exact formation, it's about whether your setup supports the system. If this video helped, please drop a like, It really helps the channel. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.